anyways, right, let me start recording. Okay, so I'll repeat once again. Okay, how does this functions work, my dear friends? So you'll have function call and you'll have a function definition. So to write a function definition, the syntax is that you have to use the keyword def followed by the function name, appropriate function name, followed by a pair of parentheses and a colon, and next line you will have an indentation, and then you can write the set of activity that you have to do as part of this function definition. Therefore this is called as your main context, and this is called as the context belonging to the function got called. What do you mean by a context? Context says that what kind of statements get executed where. Okay, you'll understand by the end of the session. You'll be understanding all these things, don't worry. So for now, what happens first? Which context will get executed, my dear friends? Which context get executed first? The main context gets executed first, isn't it? In the main context, what is there? There is a function call. This is called as function call, and this is called as function definition, right? So what happens is that from the main context, okay, so we are calling got called. It means I'm calling this function. Okay, I want this function to do some activity, right? So what happens? The control will go from this place to the function definition, and it will enter into the function definition. And inside the function definition, how many statements are there? Tell me, my dear friends, how many? Akshada, how many statements is
Only
there?
one.
Only one. And what is that statement supposed to do?
Hello.
That statement is supposed to print hello, and the output would be hello. Is that clear? Is that
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Hello guys, is that clear? Everyone clear? Okay, now shall we get into the program 2, Akshada?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in the program 2, what happens is that, okay, first what happens is that you have this, tell me what happens, Akshada.
Sir, function call, which is nothing but our main context. From there, program will
1
get
minute, what is the name? What is the name of the function?
got called.
Got called is this, so this line is the function call, isn't it?
Yes.
So once the function is called, what happens? The control will go to the function definition, correct?
Yes.
And it enters into the function definition, isn't it? It is matching the function definition. Got called, right? So
Yes.
it matches the function definition. So it will enter into the function definition, isn't it? And then what
Yes.
happens?
It will print hello.
Okay, let me write it. It will print hello, right? And then after printing hello, how many statements are there as part of this function definition?
Two
Two
statements
statements.
in
One is
function
print hello,
definition.
the other one is return 5, isn't it? Okay, so
Yes.
what do you mean by return 5? It means this function definition is returning 5 to the one who actually called, correct? No, right? So I am returning 5. So got called is, this is the main context. Main context is actually calling the got called function. So the control goes to the function definition called as got called. It comes here and it will enter into this function definition. It will say print hello, hello will get printed, and then it has a return statement. Return statement says I'm returning some value to the context which called me, right? No, so this return 5 will actually come and sit in this R. Do you see that? I am actually collecting that inside R while calling got called. Guys, did you observe this? Hello guys, did you observe this?
Yes,
Hello
sir.
everyone. Akshara, did you observe this? Okay,
Yes, sir.
so what happens? I'm returning this 5. This 5 will come and sit in R. I'm collecting got called. After finishing this statement, whatever return value I get, I come and collect it in this variable R. Okay, and then what happens? I'll come back to the next line. Okay, I'll come to the next line and then print R. So what gets printed? What is R
Fine.
containing now? R is containing
Fine.
5. Therefore, the output would be hello and 5. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear now? Okay, see, slowly I'm increasing the complexity of the program, right? Now, then what happens? Okay, let us go to the program 3. Okay, so guys, I'm going to the program 3. Am I fast? Yeah, am I fast? Guys, tell me, am I
No, sir.
fast? Am I okay? Right, now, coming to the program 3. In program 3, what is happening? Tell me, Ma, Akshada, tell me what is happening in program 3.
Sir, program will start from function call. That
Yeah,
is.
this is the function call, isn't it? Got called, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, and then the control will go to the function definition, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, in the
Hello
function
will be
definition, what
printed.
happens?
Prince hello.
Hello will be printed.
Oh, 1 second, Akshay. Guys, others, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, please, I kindly request to mute. Mallika, Mallika, can you please mute yourself? If I see anyone on unmute, I will ban them. That's the only thing that I can do. Others, please mute yourself. This is the last chance. Okay, please don't disturb the class. That is why I keep everyone on mute. Okay. Anyways, Akshada, can we discuss? Start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Um,
got called and it comes to the function definition over here, and inside
yes.
function definition, what is there? What is
Hello
it?
is there. So it
Okay,
will
hello will
print
get printed,
hello.
isn't it? Hello will
Yes.
get printed. So let me print hello over here. And then what is there over here? What is the next statement?
Return nothing. So
Return, okay, just return statement. Okay, what does return do? Return will actually, by the way, Rajesh is asking, explain, return once again. Okay, so Rajesh, listen to me carefully. So what happens is when you use return statement, the control returns to the place where it actually got called, right? It got called in the main context. So the control, it finished its operation. The got called finished its operation. The control will come back. While coming back, it is carrying a value called as 5, which will be collected in R. Okay, and then I print it over here. Whereas in the current program 3, okay, in the current program 3, it is not returning any value. It is just saying return, isn't it? Yes or no, my dear friends? Did you understand this? Am I returning any value? I'm not returning any value. I'm just saying return. Okay, so it is also equivalent to not writing any statement over here. Is that clear? Is that clear? Writing just a return is equivalent to not writing anything over there. Is that clear, my dear friends? Okay, now
yes,
then you might ask me, sir, what will happen when I say, in this case, I am returning 5, that 5 is going and sitting in R, and then I print that value, and that is why we get 5. Isn't it, guys? Yes or no? Whereas Akshada, here I'm not returning any specific value. Okay, I'm just saying return. In that case, what will this R contain? What will
0.
this R contain? Okay, Akshada, why 0? Who told 0? Who told you 0?
Sir,
Akshada,
sir, nobody told me
so you
0.
are assuming things.
Uh,
You assumed or not? Tell me quickly.
yes, sir, I assume.
Don't assume. Okay, if you don't know, say
Okay.
don't know, right? Now, so what happens when you say return without any passing any value? So R will be filled with a value called as none. Okay, N-O-N-E, none. Okay, no, so none is an it's a constant of the type none type, like how you have int type, float type, and all that. So there is one data type called as none type, N-O-N-E-T-Y-P, none type. Okay, so this basically indicates false. Okay, we'll discuss about this later in detail. Don't worry about it for now. But now understand that when you don't return any value, by default, what would get stored is a none. None indicates
None.
false. There is nothing. That is what is the meaning of none. Is that okay, my dear friends? Okay, it is capital N and O-N-E, none. Is that clear? And then when I print R, it will print none here. Clear, my dear friends? Is this
Yes,
program
sir.
3 clear? Hello, everyone. Is that clear? Yeah. Quickly, is that clear, everyone? Okay, yeah, fine. Now going into the fourth program. Okay, so Akshada, tell me what is happening in the fourth program. Okay, from where does the main context start?
The last
Okay,
second
one
sentence.
second. Chinmay Shri, what is that you did not understand? What I'm trying to tell you is that, okay, when I say return statement, okay, when I'm not giving any value, what happens is that when I don't return any value, there is a value called as none, which gets filled in this variable R. Okay, if you don't return any value, then none. And if you're trying to collect the return value into a variable, and there is something called as none, which gets filled into R, okay, and that none indicates false. It means there is nothing in that. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, so this none is of type none type. Okay, no, so more about none I'll be discussing. Okay, now having said that, so from where in program 4, tell me Akshada, from where is the main context starting? Can you tell me?
Yes, sir, last second sentence. R is equal to
No,
print
no,
call.
no, no, no. The main context is starting from here. Okay, no, it is A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6. Do you understand?
Sir, but from function call we are executing.
No, in this, in the all the previous programs we executed from function call because there was nothing else in the main context. Okay, no, but in the main context over here, it starts from A is equal to 5. This is your main context. This is
Okay.
your main context. Okay, no, in all our previous programs, we did not have anything else. That is why we just started from function call. That was only one statement which was there in the, that was the only thing which was there in the main context. But in our main context over here, what do we have? We start from A is equal to 5, isn't it? Yes or no,
Yes,
Akshada? Guys, did you
yes, sir.
understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Do you understand what I'm saying, my dear friends? Okay. So here we have A is equal to 5, and then we have B is equal to 6. And then what happens? I'm saying got called. Now I'm calling a function. Okay, no. So now when I'm
Yes.
calling a function, okay, in all our previous programs, program 1, program 2, program 3, did we pass any value to the function definition? See here, inside
No.
called, do you pass any value, my dear friends? No, right? Whereas in program 4, did you see I am passing two values over here? Guys, did you notice it? Hello, did you notice it, my dear friends? Yes or no?
Yes,
Akshada, did you notice? Okay, so
yes,
what
sir.
happens is that, okay, I'm calling this function, the control will come here. When the control comes here, when the function is being called, okay, I'm also passing two values. So this A will come and sit in this A, and this B will come and sit in this B. Is that okay? Is that clear, my dear friends? So
Yes, sir.
when I'm calling this function, I'm also passing these two values. Okay, so what is a? What is a? Tell me.
5.
What is a? It is 5. So this a, okay, this 5 will go and sit in this a belonging to got called, and then this b, which value is 6, will get will go and sit in the in the variable b belonging to got called. Is that clear? Okay,
Yes,
and
sir.
then Akshada, tell me what will happen. So the function, the controllers come here with two values 5 and 6, and then I will enter into this function definition. What will it print first?
So it will first print hello.
Okay, and then what happens over here?
Then it will return a plus b, that is
It will return a
11.
plus b. It is nothing but 11, isn't it? So that
Yes.
11, where does it go and sit? Where does it
Uh,
go and sit?
R equal to
Yeah,
got.
it comes in, sits in R, isn't it? Okay,
Yes.
because got called is returning some value that comes in, sits in R. It has been collected in R, and then I'll print the value of R. So what does it print actually? Hello
11.
and 11. Am I right, my dear friends? Hello, did you understand this? Okay,
Yes.
you'll be understanding. So did you see that I am incrementally showing you different parts of the program slowly, right? So by the end of this chapter, you'll understand everything in detail. So don't worry, have no worries. Is that okay? For just tell me, did you understand till here, my dear friends? Did you understand till here? Even though you have a lot of doubts, did you understand whatever I'm saying now? Okay, hold on, and slowly we'll learn all these things. Okay, did you understand? Shall I proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. Now I'm going to the next program. Okay, so here, did you see that what is happening? Now tell me, how is the context? Where is the main context starting from, Akshada?
A equal to 5.
Exactly, a is equal to 5. And then what happens? Keep telling me what happens in this program.
Yeah. Then value of a and b will be passed to
Hey, is that the
definition.
Akshada, is that the way I'm teaching you? How am I teaching you? I'm teaching you A value will be 5, B value will be 6, and then from the main context, we are calling a function called as got called, and I'm also passing two values A and B. So when I call this function got called, the control will transfer to the function definition over here. Okay, and then when I'm actually calling got called with two values A and B, so this A of main context will go and sit in the b of got called, and this b value will go and sit in a of got called, isn't it, Akshada?
Yes, sir.
Am I explaining good, or you're explaining good?
No, so you are explaining good.
Okay, chalo. So then what happens over here now? Can you tell me what is the output over here now? Okay, what is a value?
A value is 6.
A value is 6, isn't it? Because we have okay, I will show you how this works. So listen to me very carefully, my dear friends. Okay, so assume this is your main context. Okay, let me write it over here. I will write it with the help of diagram. You will be able to understand. Okay, so basically let me start from the main context. Okay, so I'm writing the diagram over here. Okay, so you have okay, so in the main context, okay, what are the two values over here? Can you tell me? In the main
5
context, what are the
and
two
6.
values? Guys, understand how it is represented in memory so that you will be able to understand this better. Okay, so you should know how to represent this in memory. Okay, so in the main context, what are the two values? Where is it? Program 5. Okay, it is A and B, isn't it, my dear friends? Okay, now tell me, where is this 5 and 6 stored? Where are 5 and 6 stored, my dear friends? Okay, tell me, where are 5 and 6 stored? No, don't tell me A and B, but yes, I understand it is A and B, but where is it? It is stored on the heap, isn't it? Because everything in Python is treated as objects, and all objects are stored on the heap, isn't it? So let me write a diagram over here, a heap diagram. Okay, so what does that contain? That contains, okay, one memory contains 5, the other memory contains 6, isn't it, my dear friends? Okay, and where is this context? Where is this context currently now? Okay, where is this context? I'll erase all this so that you will have no doubts. Okay, wait 1 second. I'll erase all this so that you'll not have any kind of doubts. Guys, I want you to respond. Okay, I want you to respond. Okay, Rajesh Reddy, heap is an area of, in the RAM for your Python where all your objects will get stored. That is called as heap. Okay, so now let me take one more context of the first context. What is the first context? Okay, it is the main, isn't it? This is your main, isn't it, Akshada? Yes or no? It's a
Yes, sir.
main context or the global context. Okay, so people with C knowledge and Java knowledge, don't take it too far. Don't try to compare it with C and Java. This works in a very different way. I'm just trying to give you one diagram for your explanation. Okay, now in the main context, how many variables are there? Tell me. In
2.
main context, two variables. What are they? Now A is pointing to what? 5,
5.
and B is pointing to what? It is
6.
pointing to 6, isn't it? Okay, now what am I calling? I'm calling got called function, isn't it? I'm calling
Yes.
got called function. when I'm calling got called function, okay, so there would be one more context, okay, one more, okay, you can consider this as a stack. It is basically a stack, but the way when I say stack, most of the people with the C and Java knowledge will get confused, okay, because the stack, the way stack works in Python is totally different from the way it works in other languages. So assume it as a stack, but don't take the comparison too far, okay. So this is your stack, okay. See, there are two things, okay. One is called as the heap, okay, and the other one is called as the stack. Both are there on your RAM itself, both are there on your RAM, okay. So heap is the place where your actual objects will get stored, okay, and stack is the place where the references will get stored. Guys, is that clear? Let us clear this part and then go ahead, okay.
Yes.
So in the RAM there are, assume in the RAM there are two parts, okay, no. So one is called as the heap, the other one is called as the stack, okay. Heap is the way, heap is the place where your actual objects get placed, that is 5, 6 and all will get placed over there, and stack is the place where the references to it will actually get stored. Is that clear, guys? Is that clear, my dear friends? Hello, is that clear? I want everyone to respond. Is that clear? Now I want to ask you one more question. Tell me, so this 5 and 6, what is the data type of 5 and 6? What is the data type of 5 and 6, my dear friends? Tell me.
Int.
It is integer, okay. Now integer objects are mutable objects or immutable objects? You tell me. Have I told you this? Akshada, what is it? Tell me. Mutable or immutable? Forgot?
Sir, yeah, I don't remember.
Starting class, what you did not do revision then? I told you in the starting class, isn't it? It is an immutable object. All your integer objects are immutable. It means you cannot change its value. You remember I told you n is
Yes,
equal to
sir.
10, n is equal to n plus 1, then there would be a separate copy created. I showed you all these things, garbage collection and all that. Guys, you remember or not? See, I've told you everything now. This is Akshada, this is bad. Okay, I've told you all these things. Anyways, chalo, understand it is immutable. Now, okay, so got called is called. So what happens when I'm calling this function? A will get passed, A will go and sit in, okay, where will A go and sit? Okay,
B.
B, right? And what is B? B will go and sit in
A.
A, isn't it? Okay, so I have a new stack frame over here. This stack frame belongs to who? Got called, isn't it, my dear friends? Okay, this is the main, okay. Okay, Yogesh asking, Yogesh, listen to me very carefully, okay? See, there are two memories, okay? There are two kinds of memory on it. This is, assume this is your RAM, okay? This is your RAM. In RAM, okay, it can be divided into two parts, okay? I mean, I'm just trying to explain you with diagram, okay? This is called as your, one is called as your heap. For Python, I'm talking about Python programs. The other one is called as the stack, okay, no? So like this, I've divided over here. One is the heap and the other one is the stack, okay? So for each and every function, there would be some amount of memory allocated. For every function, there would be a stack frame. Is that clear? Everyone, is that clear? For every function, this is one function, right? For that, there is a stack frame created, okay? So this is heap and this is stack. Let me write it like this. This is stack and this is heap memory, okay? So what is stored on the heap? Tell me, what are stored on the heap? What is stored on the heap, my dear friends? Tell me. Guys, tell me. Objects are stored on the heap. All
Actual
objects,
object.
actual objects are stored on the heap. Then what would be stored on the stack? What would be stored on the stack?
References.
The references to that, the references, isn't it? Now A is a reference, B is a reference to it, isn't it? Now see, okay, now this is the main context. In main context, how many references are there? A and B, two references are there. A is referring to 5 and B is referring to 6, isn't it, my dear friends? Is this okay? Is this clear? Is this clear? So we have two objects 5 and 6. A is referring to the object 5 and B is referring to the object 6. Clear? Now, so what happens next is that from the main context, you are calling the got called context. That is, you are calling the got called function, right? So when the got called function is called, there is a separate memory, that is a stack, okay? A separate stack frame created only for got called. So let me write the name, okay? Got called. I'm not writing fully, I'm just saying got called, okay? Now in got called, tell me how many references are there? Tell me how many references are there in got called? Two references are there, isn't it? What is the first reference? What is the first reference? Okay,
B.
it is B. What is the second reference? What is the
A.
second reference? A, isn't it? Now, what is B pointing to? Tell me what got stored into B? What got stored into B from the got called? Here, from here, A got. From here, A got stored into B, isn't it? So B is pointing to 5. Am I right? B is pointing to 5. Am I right? In the got called, B is pointing to 5. Yes or no? Because here this A is going and sitting in B, and then whatever was there in B is going and sitting in A. So therefore, in this case, okay, in got called, A will now be pointing to 6. Am I right? Guys, am I right? Did you understand what I'm saying over here? Do you understand this? The picture is very clear now, isn't it? With this diagram over here, right? Now, Akshada, tell me, I'm enter into the function definition. What will print A is equal to will print? I am in this
6.
context. I'm in this context. Got called. Did you see that? I'm in
Yes.
got called. So in this, what will A print? Tell me.
6.
It will print 6. Okay, no? And then I'm printing B. What will B print?
5.
It will print 5. Okay, no? And then what I will do is that I'm saying return A plus B, correct?
Yes.
So when I say return, where will this return value go and sit?
R.
In R. So what is A plus B?
11.
It is 11. Okay, then I'll say print R. So in the print R, what will get printed? 11, isn't it?
11 will be printed.
11 will get printed. Okay, no? Now you tell me, where is this R, whether it will be in the global stack or it would be on the got called stack. Where will this be?
Global.
Exactly, it would be on the global stack over here. So somewhere here R would be there. And where will this 11 be? Tell me, return A plus B. Where will this 11 be? Where will this 11 be? I did A plus B, no?
Yes.
An object is created, right? A plus B, and it is getting stored in R, isn't it? So 11
Yes.
will be stored somewhere on the heap, and
Heap.
this R would be pointing to this 11. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
all objects in Python are stored on the heap, and all references are stored on the stack. Keep those in mind. With this, we will continue with further programs. Guys, is that okay? Hello, guys. Is that okay? Okay. Now, new programmers, don't you think they will get confused over here, my dear friends? Yes or no? Okay, Akshada, don't you think new programmers will get confused with this program?
Yes, sir.
Why do you think they'll get confused? Tell me.
Uh,
Because okay, this A is getting stored in B and this B is getting stored in A. If we detailedly go and check, then we'll understand that B is actually pointing to A and A is pointing to B. Isn't it, Akshada? One second. Narendra, can you please mute yourself, man?
Nara.
Who is this Narendra here? Narendra, can you please mute yourself, else you will be banned. Right, shall I? Okay, right. So Akshada, you're there?
yes, sir.
Okay, right. So yeah, see, it is quite disturbing, man. It's very disturbing. Okay, so it's very confusing, isn't it? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
So now we will overcome this problem over here. See here, the confusion problem will overcome. Did you see here the difference? Here I'm saying got called A comma B, but here I am saying got called. Okay, I'm calling the same got called function, but I'm saying A should be 5 and B should be 6. Did you see that, my dear friends? Yes or no? Right? So I am calling this function. The control will go to the function definition, and though it is B comma A, the Python interpreter will know that okay, he has told that A has to be 5 and B has to be 6, isn't it? So this is called as keyword arguments or keyword based arguments. It means you are saying, boss, A should contain 5 and B should contain 6, and exactly, okay, it goes and sits over here. So here B will not contain, okay, so it is not the first pair, it is not, see here it is position based. Okay, so A comma B, first position will go and sit in first position, second position will go and sit in second position. This is position based, passing parameters, whereas here this is not position based, this is basically keyword based. Okay, so here A is equal to 5 means, though even the names are exchanged over here, the parameter names have been, or the positions have been exchanged, but still it exactly 5 will go and sit in A itself. Okay, let me write it. 5 will go and sit in A, and 6, which is, when I said B is equal to 6, the 6 will go and sit in B over here. Guys, did you understand this keyword based arguments? Guys, hello, did you understand keyword based arguments? I want you to understand the difference over here, right? This is
Yes,
what kind of parameter, what kind of arguments are these? Can you tell me? These are position based, exactly based on the position it will go and sit, whereas this is called as keyword based on the keyword. I have told, boss, see here, A has to be 5 and B has to be 6, and exactly, even though you switch the position over here, so the 5 will go and sit in A itself and 6 will go and sit in B itself over here, right? Now, based on this, can you tell me what is the output of this program, Akshada? What is the value?
First, A will be printed, that is 5.
Exactly, it would be
Then
5,
value of
and then
B will be printed, that is 6.
that is 6. Okay, then
Yeah. Then 11 will be returned.
Okay, 11 would
Um,
be returned. It comes and sits in R, and then you're
Yes.
printing R. So what is it?
5,
11,
6,
isn't it?
11. Yes.
Okay, no. Balaji, sir, can I give x comma y in definition and a comma b in call? Yes, you can do that. Okay, but in this case, if you do that, you will get an error, right? No, in this case, because in position based, sorry, in keyword based, the keyword should be the same. Okay, no. Whereas here you can give any names, not a problem. Is that okay, Balaji? Did you understand that? Here you can say a comma b. Here you can say x comma y or whatever it is. They have no relationship. But here, when you say keyword based, you have to give the exact keywords only, else you will get an error. Is that okay, guys? Did you understand this? Hello, shall I proceed further? Shall I
Yes.
proceed, my dear friends? Okay. So Balaji's question is answered in one of the programs over here, but it's okay. Just it's good that you asked me. It's okay. So shall I proceed further? Is it? Are you guys understanding? Are you guys
Yes.
understanding? Hello, Akshada, are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So shall we go to the next one now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is that you see extra from the previous programs? By the way, what do you observe in these programs from program 1 to program 6? What is that you observe, Akshada? How is the program designed?
Uh,
Don't you
Sir,
see there is an incremental changes in the programs actually, different concepts? Okay. Yes or not, Shida? You observe, are you observing or not?
yes, sir.
Okay. What are
Like
you
you are
observing?
adding one by one, little bit extra with every
Yeah,
program.
did you see that? I'm keeping, increasing each and everything so that you understand from simple to complex I'm going. So learn in the same way. Okay. Now,
Yes.
okay. Did you see this over here? Okay. So, okay. First time, what am I doing? What am I calling over here?
R got called 567.
Yeah. How many arguments am I passing?
3.
I'm passing. So keep answering my question. Okay. How many arguments am I passing, Akshada?
3 arguments.
Okay. So I'll go to the function definition. Okay. No, this is the function definition, isn't it?
Yes.
No, 5 will go and sit
A. No, B.
in B. This is position based, right? Okay.
Yes.
And 6 will go and sit in,
A.
it will go and sit in A, correct? Okay.
Yes.
And what about 7?
It cannot go because C has already value of 3.
No, but it goes. Okay. No, C
Okay.
goes and sits in. Okay. So 7 goes and sits in C. Is that okay? For now, understand. I'll tell you when it changes. Is that clear?
Yes.
Hello, is that clear? Okay, I'll tell you later. Now listen to me. 5, 6, and 7. Okay, 5 goes and sits in B, 6 goes and sits in A, and 7 goes and sits in C. What is this equal to 3? We'll see later for now. Okay, and then get into the function over here. So what happens here? So A is equal to
6.
A will be 6. Okay, and then B is equal to
5.
okay 5, and then C is equal to we have passed here. I told you, we have passed 7.
Yes.
So what is C?
7.
7. Okay. Then A plus B plus C. What is the output? 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 7.
18.
18. 18 comes and sits where?
In first R. Yeah.
In the R. Then I will go to the next statement. So what is getting printed?
18 will be printed.
18 will get printed. Okay. Next, what am I doing?
Then again, we are going to function definition.
I'm calling the function definition, isn't it? Okay,
Yes.
I'm calling the function definition. So the function definition, the same function definition called for the second time, correct? So here, this time 5 will go and sit where?
B.
It goes and sits in B, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
And then the 6 will go and sit where?
A.
It will go and sit in, okay, A, isn't it? It goes and sits in A, okay. And do we have a third parameter over here?
No.
No, right? We don't have a third parameter. When we don't have a third parameter, this 3 will be taken as the default parameter. Is that understood, my dear friends? Guys, did you understand that? When we don't pass the third parameter to this function, then we can assume this 3 as the default argument. Okay, so this concept is called as default argument. When we don't pass any value to an argument, it can be taken. So when we say C equal to 3 in the function definition, it would take this 3 as the default argument for C. Okay, so the default argument would be taken only when you don't pass any value from the from the function call. Is that clear, Akshada? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
In the first case, did C become 3?
No.
No, why? Because we had passed an argument, isn't it? Whereas in the
Yes.
second case, we are not passing any argument, and that is why, okay, this 3 would be taken as a default argument. And now, can you tell me what is the output of this?
Yes. 14.
Okay, so Rakesh is asking some question. Let me answer that off. Sir, what if there is no C is equal to 3? Okay, no. So the first program, the first function will result in an error. Is that okay? The first function will result in an error. Is that okay, Rakesh? Rakesh, you cannot. Rakesh, can you unmute yourself? Rakesh, unmute yourself and talk to me quickly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rakesh, tell me what is your question.
Sir, if C is not there, my question is if it is a first call and I have given a 5 6 only and one more C variable is there in definition function
Yeah,
definition.
C is there, no? This one. This
C is here in the first time I have given only 5 6. There is no 7. What will be happen?
error. You'll get error.
Okay, like
It means C is there or C is not there.
C is there, but I
C
have
is
given
there.
only.
Oh,
but
but
I
you
have
have given only 5, only 6, 5 and 6.
yes, but here C is equal to 3 is not there, sir. Only C is there.
Oh, this is not there.
It is not there. Only
You'll
5
get
6
error.
is given.
You'll get error.
Like sir, it will not take default
You will
value
get
as
an
0.
error. You'll get an error. If it was taking as default value 0, I would have told you, no? Yes or no, I would have told you, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Then it won't take. If it is taking, I would have told you, right?
Okay,
Hello,
sir.
Rakesh.
Okay. I understood, sir.
So don't assume. If there is something like that, I will tell you.
Okay, sir.
Right? Right.
Okay,
So
thank
it
you.
won't take.
Got it.
Right? It will give you an error. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So right, guys, when you're asking doubts, make sure that you ask really some genuine doubts, which I feel really happy about. Okay, no, this Rakesh is simply asking me doubts. I think Rakesh likes to talk to me. Akshada,
Yes, sir.
he is very jealous of you. He wants to talk to me. This Rakesh guy.
No, Rakesh, let me talk today.
Yeah, he's flirting with me. Come on. This Rakesh is flirting with me. Man, I have a wife and a son, man. If my wife gets to know, then what, man? Anyways, chalo. Right? So ask me some genuine doubts. If there something like that, I would have told you, isn't it? Chalo. Having said that, okay. So what happens in the second case? What is the output? So what is the output in this case? So it would be 5 plus. Okay, it will print what? What is the first thing it will print?
Yes. 6.
It would print 6. Okay. Second, I'll write it over here. 6, then
5.
okay. So 5, then
3.
then 3, then
14.
okay. It will print 14. How much is this? 6 plus 5 plus 3. Okay. It would be 14. And then what happens? The control, the 14 would actually, okay. No, it's not 14, right? One second. It's not the step. So it will print 5, 6, 5. Is it 6? Am I right? Yeah, 6, 5,
Yes.
and 3. And then the control, and it says A plus B, and the control will come back to this, isn't it? So here the R would be there, which is nothing but 14. And then this print R will actually print 14. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So Mahinder is telling something is missing. What is it, Mahinder? Can you please unmute yourself and talk to me? What is missing?
Sure, sir.
What is missing?
In print value, we have A equal to direct no square. With A equal to will not be printed, sir.
Huh?
In print statement, we have A equal to in double quotes, no, sir.
Huh?
Will not A equal to will not be printed, sir, in output.
Yeah, it will be printed, man. I'm not writing all those things. I'm only interested in the
Okay.
value of this. A is
Okay,
equal to 6, A is equal, B is equal to. If I keep writing all those, it's simply unnecessary waste of time. That is why I'm just printing the real values over here.
Okay, sir.
Is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay, that's all assumed that it will be there. Okay, I'm only concentrated. My main concentration is to explain you the concepts. Okay, right. So
Okay,
guys, do you understand the concept now? Hello.
Yes.
Guys, did you understand the concept? Okay. Okay. Cool. So shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Shall we proceed? Okay. Give me a moment. Okay. Right. Having said that. Okay. So program 8. What is happening in program 8? Akshada, can you help me out?
There is list.
Okay. So in the context, all this time we were actually working with normal integers. Now we have a list, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. We have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then shall we write the context over here so that we'll understand?
Yes.
Okay, so we will we have a list. Okay, assume this is your list and this is on heap. Assume this is on heap. Okay, assume this is on heap. Okay, and this is 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what is happening? And this is referenced by the main context, isn't it? The global context. Okay, and L is here, and L is referring to this list. Is this right, Akshada? Whatever I've done now?
Yes, sir.
This is the main. I'm just writing it as main. Okay, then what happens? Guys, is this understood? Is this clear? Understood till here? Hello, everyone. Just say yes in the chat box if you understood that the diagram. Okay, then what happens?
Sir, we are calling max min.
Yes, we are calling max min. Correct? No, it's a function. And what are we passing to it?
We are passing list elements
List
of.
reference. We are not passing the elements. We are only passing the list reference. L we are passing, isn't it? We are
Yes.
calling this function definition. It comes here, right? So when it comes here, so we have a new stack frame created, and this stack frame is for what? It's for max min, isn't it?
Yes.
It is for max underscore min. Okay, still here is it okay? Till here is it okay, my dear friends? Okay. And while calling that, we are also passing L, which is nothing but this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we are creating one more L in max min, which is also referring to this only. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
It's also referring to this, isn't it? Okay, cool. 1 second. Is anyone, guys, who is on? Okay, no one else. Okay, yeah, tell me, ma. Okay, so guys, till here is it okay? So both max min and m, both L are pointing to the same object on the heap. Am I right? We are not passing element, we are only passing this reference to it. Okay, then what happens? Okay, so it return, there is something over here. Two things it is returning. It is returning two things. What are they?
A maximum of list and minimum of list.
Exactly. So we have this built-in function we learned in our previous chapter. You remember, my dear friends? We have
Yes,
this
sir.
max function and min function. So maximum will give you the max of the function, and I mean max of the list, and minimum will give you the minimum of the list. So what is max?
5.
5, and it will return 5 comma
1.
1, right? No, so 5 comma 1 would be returned. And so what happens when we return this? Okay, where does it come and get stored? Will it come and store?
Max and min.
In max and min. It comes and stores in max and min. Yes or no, my dear friends? It gets stored in max and min, isn't it? So now what will happen is, so what will max and min become? Can you tell me what will max and min become? What kind of data type is it? Okay, okay, let me ask you this. Okay, Bhuja, you're right. Okay, if suppose I say m is equal to 5 comma 1, okay, then what kind of variable this becomes? What kind of object this becomes? This becomes a tuple. Okay, when when we are returning two values from a function, it will be returned as a tuple. Is that okay, my dear friends? Hello, is this okay? Whenever you are returning two values from the function, it will be returned as a tuple. Okay, therefore max and min is what is max and min? Max and min is basically a tuple which will contain 5 comma 1. Is that clear, guys? Is that clear? Hello, you can type this max and min and see, you will get a tuple. Okay, now, so max and min is a tuple. Next, shall we come to the next line? Okay, Akshada, shall we come to the next line?
Yes, sir.
So in the next line, what am I doing? I'm doing the same kind of activity, isn't it? I'm
Yes.
doing the same kind of activity. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, now what I will do is, in my, for the sake of understanding, I'm going to remove this line from here. 1 minute. I am going to remove this line for the sake of understanding. For now, let us not complicate things. You can check this later. Okay, so let us check this later. Okay, now, okay, let us have this now. So when I say return, okay, 5 comma 1, where is it coming and storing? Tell me.
Max and min. In max and min.
Listen, we'll do from first. Okay, so first we have the main context. L is equal to 1 2 3 4 5. Is that clear? We have this
Yes.
on the we have it on the heap 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and then the next line I'm calling max min function. So the control will go to the max min function. A stack frame will be generated for max and min, and what are we passing to it? We are passing the list L to it. Correct? No, so this
Yes.
L will go and sit in this L, isn't it? So it means
Yes.
that both L will be pointing to the same list that is there on the heap. Is that clear? Okay,
Yes, sir.
and then in the next line, that is inside the function, I am finding the max of L and min of L, which is nothing but 5 comma 1, and it says return 5 comma 1. That is what it says. Return 5 comma 1. Isn't it, my dear friends? It says two values you are returning, 5 comma 1. Okay. So where does that 5 comma 1 come and stay here? It comes in, stays in max and min, isn't it? So why 5 will come and sit in max and 1 will come and sit in min. Have you remember, guys, we had a problem like this, a comma b is equal to 1 comma 2. In one of the guess the output, I had shown you this. You remember?
Yes, sir.
1 will come and sit in B and 2 will come and 1 will come and sit in A and 2 will come and sit in B. You remember this? In one of the guess the output, I actually have shown you this. If you have done the revision, you will be able to actually understand this, my dear friends. Okay. Now, so 5 comma 1 is coming and sitting in max comma min, isn't it? So what will max contain now? Tell me, what is
5.
max containing? It is containing 5. What will min contain?
1.
1. Okay. Now in the next line, I'm printing max and min. So what will happen when I print max and min? Tell me. 5 and 1 will get
1.
printed. Is that clear? So the output
Yes.
would be 5 and 1. Guys, is that clear, my dear friends? Hello, is that clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I want to tell you one more thing. You know what happens? Okay. So when I'm returning, right, it is coming back to the main context, isn't it, my dear friends? Once I return, the control is coming back to the main context, isn't it? When I'm coming to the main context, what happens? What happens? Okay, so what happens is that this stack frame which was generated for max and min will get destroyed. Okay, it won't be present, it will get destroyed. It will be destroyed by the Python interpreter. Is that okay, my dear friends? Did you understand this? Hello. Once your control will come out of the function definition, that stack frame will not be there anymore. It would be destroyed. It is no more. You will not be able to refer to it once again. Is that clear? Hello, is that clear, my dear friends?
Destroyed means it is garbage collected, right?
No, it is not garbage collected. Only objects will be garbage collected. Stack will
Okay.
not be garbage collected. Understand this. Is that okay? So this, it means it would, that memory would be, unreferenced. It is not used. It would be removed. It would be destroyed. No more stack frame. There is nothing called as inside your Python interpreter in the memory. There won't be any stack data structure. Whatever resources were allocated for it would be removed. That is what it means. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so only objects would be Malika. Okay, Malika, can you please unmute yourself, Malika?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Malika, tell me what is it you did not understand?
Something you told like destroying. Yes,
No,
sir.
very simple. See, okay, so when we are calling max and min, on top of it, some memory is created, no?
Yes, sir.
I told you, no, there would be a stack kind of thing which will be created
Yes,
for
sir.
function. And inside that, there would be this L and whatever local variables would be there would be inside this, I told you, right?
Yes, sir.
You understood that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So after doing this function, I'm returning back, right? I'm coming back, no? After
Yes.
performing those operation, I'm coming back, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're able to visualize. When I'm coming back, what happens is that, okay, when I'm coming back, what happens is that this is no more required. Okay, so this would be it would be removed from the memory. Whatever was created over here, that would be removed. Is that clear?
Will it be permanently removed, sir?
It would be permanently removed.
Okay, sir.
It's not required anymore.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
What do you mean by permanently removed and temporarily removed? I did not understand.
Like sometimes it will copy the values in another memory, right? Like that.
Why are you overcomplicating things? All those things are not there. It is not there in any language. Okay, it would be removed means removed. It is not copied anywhere. If it would have been copied, I would have told you it is copied somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no?
Thank you.
Yeah, fine, cool. Okay, Rakesh Khanna. Sir, if I call again, will it be created again? Recreated again? It will be created once again, Rakesh. Once again you call max min, again on top of it, this memory would be created. Okay, so we have that program. Don't worry, it is there. Okay, so till now, did you understand? Till here, did you understand? Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed?
Yes.
So what is that? Harshita is asking, sir, where did max and min go? Which max and min? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Max and min.
So first, after that L is equal to, after that list, there was something called as max and min is equal to max min of L.
I removed it. That was confusing because
That is totally not there.
that is totally not there.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I just removed it so that I can make this program simple to explain the return of max and min. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
cool.
Thank you.
Okay, right. So guys, now I want your mind to work. Okay, I want I don't know how I put this output over here. Oh, anyways, okay, I want you to use a brain. Okay, Akshata, you're ready?
Yes, sir.
Totally, how many contexts are there in this program 9? Can you tell me?
two contexts.
I will come and kill you. There are three contexts. Main context, okay, context for F1 and context for F2, isn't it? In all the earlier programs, how many contexts were there? Akshada,
Yes, sir.
in all these programs, how many contexts were there?
Sir,
Two
we work.
context. One is the main context, the other one is the context for got called. I wrote two diagrams. No, see, one is the main context and another context for the main for the function which we called, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes or no? Or simply saying yes, sir.
No, understood, sir. Yes.
So similarly, in this program, how many contexts are there? Three contexts here. One is the main. This is the main context. Akshada, respond no.
Yes, sir.
And then we have a context for F1 and then we have context for F2. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first what happens? So which context will get executed first?
F1.
Main context will get
But main
executed first.
context.
Right? In
Yeah.
main context, what is there? How many statements are there in the main context or
Only
in the
one.
global context? Okay. How many statements are there?
One, only one.
Yeah. And what is that one statement? It's a function call, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm calling that function. So what happens when I call that function? It goes to the function definition belonging to F1, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so inside that function definition, what is there? We have a
N.
variable n is equal to 20, isn't it?
Yes.
And then what I'm doing, n is equal to n is getting printed. Am I right?
Yes.
So this n20 gets printed, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then print, okay, then F2. This is calling F2, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the control will now go to the F2 function definition. Am I right?
Yes.
Then get inside. We have n is equal to 10.
10.
Okay. And then I'm saying print n is equal to n, which is nothing but 10, isn't it? So this gets printed, correct?
Yes.
And then what happens? The control, once I finish F2, I have to come back to where?
F1.
Exactly. So see here, you listen to me. Is F1 is calling F2 and F2 is calling F3. Okay. And once F3 completes its operation, it has to go back to F2. And once F2 completes its operation, the control has to go back to F1. Is that clear, my dear friends? Did you understand how it works, the control? Okay. F1 is calling F2, then F2 is calling F3. So once it is going back, F3 has to go back to the place where it got called, and it has to, F2 has to now go back to the place where it got called, isn't it? Yes or no? Similarly, answer my question. Who called F2? Can you tell me who called F2? Okay, F1. So once F2 finished its operation, he has to go back to where? Where is that he
F1.
has to go back? He has to go back to F1, isn't it? So the control will
Yes.
go back to F1,
F1.
right? No. So from here, so this statement is done. So what is the next line over here? What does it say?
Print n.
So yeah, so there's one more statement left over in F1. So it says print n is equal to. So what is n over here?
20.
20. So 20 got printed. So F1 completed its operation completely, fully. Is it
Yes.
done? So now
Yes.
the control has to go back to where?
F1 only.
F1. It has to go back to the main context, isn't it? So
Yes.
is there any other statement over here? Is there any
No.
other statement to be executed? No. So the program terminates. So the output would be n is equal to 20, n is equal to 10, and n is equal to 20. Is that clear, my dear friends? Hello, is that clear? So F1 calls, okay, I mean in the main context, F1 gets called, the control will come to the F1 function definition. N is equal to 20, n gets printed, and then it calls F2. The control will go to the F2 function definition. In the F2 function definition, n is equal to 10. I'll print the value of n as 10. And then once F2's complete, operations are over, all the statements gets executed, the control will come back to the F1. And in F1, there is one more statement pending over here, because that is a statement which has to be executed after the control comes back to F1, right? So n will get printed again, which is nothing but 20 in F1. And then again, all the statements got executed over here. The control will now come back to the main context, because this is the place where F1 got called. And in the main context, there is nothing else to be executed. Therefore, the program will terminate. Am I right? Guys, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Guys, is this clear with everyone? Hello? Guys, hello? Can you all say whether it is clear or not? Okay, please say it is clear or not, my dear friends. Hello? Everyone clear with this? Okay. If you practice, you will definitely understand a lot of things. Okay. So now, so shall we now get into it? Okay.
Yes.
Now get into the next one. So Akshata, can you please help me out with this program?
Yes. Again, F1 will be called.
Yeah. So we are in the main context, And
Yes,
from the main
value.
context, F1 is called, and the control will come to this function definition over here. Okay,
Yes.
and then I'll enter into the function definition. Then tell me.
It will be printing 20 first.
First 20 will get stored. That you say. Why? Who will say that one?
Yes, 20 will be stored.
In n. N value is 20. Then
Yes.
Hmm.
Then n will be printed.
okay.
Then it will call F2.
Okay.
Then there is nothing.
So is
So
there n defined inside this?
no.
No, right? N is belonging to F1 and it has no reference called n, and that is why you will get an error. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So someone is telling default argument. Kavya, can you please unmute yourself, ma? Kavya, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
What ma default argument? What is
Sir,
default argument?
I mean, when there is nothing,
Huh.
I mean, no value is incorporated, then it will take none as the value for
No,
the.
that is when the function is returning and when you are passing it. Don't get confused. Okay, here there is no n defined. See here. See, when did I use none? Tell me, where is that? Yeah, where is that none? Okay, when did I use none over here? When you're returning and when you're catching it over here, that is when you get none, no? And what is default argument? Default argument is in the function where is that default argument? In the function definition, you're expecting a parameter, but while calling, you're not passing any parameter. That is when this default argument will come into picture.
Okay.
Kavya, are you understanding, Kavya?
Yes, sir.
So here we are not passing anything or we are not receiving anything. We are trying to print the value of n. See here, our default argument comes in the argument section over here, right? No, right? So, okay, 1 second, Chinmayashree. So we are only trying to print n value and n is not there anywhere over here. Is there n belonging to F2? See here, listen. Kavya, listen, okay? So we have this. Kavya, you're listening?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
Kavya, we have this main context. Okay, this is your main context. Assume this is your main context. Okay, we are calling, nothing is there in F1. Only F1 function call is there. Nothing is there. Now, what happens in the main context is calling F1. So the control will come to this function definition.
Yes, sir.
Now there would be a stack generated for whom? For one F1. It is created, correct? No. Now inside what is there? N is equal to 20 is there. Okay. On the this is assume this is heap. Okay, this is heap. In the heap there is 20. There is 20 on the heap, correct? No. So
Yes, sir.
this is referenced by which variable, ma?
N.
N. So n is pointing to this, correct? No.
Yes, sir.
And then I'll say inside this F1 print n. Okay, so n is there, it can be printed, no problem, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm calling F2. So what happens on top of this, one more stack frame will be created, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is for F2, correct? No, this is another context for F2 context, correct? No,
Yes.
Kavya?
Yes, sir.
So I'll come to this F2. In F2, I am trying to print n. Is there n over here?
No,
See there? Can you see this?
it's not defined.
It is not defined. That is why you'll get an error. Yeah, I'm just trying to print the value of n which is not defined. I'm trying to use a variable which is not defined, and that is why I'll get an error. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Kavya, understood or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chinmayashree, your program 9 is here. Quickly. Chinmayashree, quickly. Did you see the program 9? Chinmayashree?
Sir,
Huh.
sir, actually, I'm trying to understand, sir, but I don't know. In the middle process, I am getting confused, sir. I'm
Okay.
unable to express my doubt also.
Oh, yo. Okay, okay. Don't worry. Listen. Hold on. Okay. Now, shall I explain this by context?
Okay,
Okay. So, what is the first context that you have?
F1.
That is the main context. You have the main context first, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
The main context. Do you have any variable in the main context?
No, sir.
No. Then what are you calling in the main, from the main context? What are you calling?
Oh, F1.
Okay. So, a separate stack would be created for F1.
Yep, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, I come to this function definition over here.
Yes, sir.
So, what is that I've done? N is equal to 20, correct?
20, yes.
Okay, so there would be a heap. Okay, there would be a heap. I'll write a bigger heap. I might need a bigger heap. So I'll write a bigger heap. This is my heap. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So I have 20. This is an object. So this is referenced by whom? N, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
This is N, correct? No? N is here. Okay. Then I'm saying, okay, print N is equal to N. So is there N value over here?
Yeah, sir. 20.
So 20 will get printed. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and then I'm calling F2, correct?
Okay.
So on top of it, there would be one more stack frame. This is F2, okay? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll come to the F2 function definition, correct?
Okay.
In this n is equal to 10. It means on the stack, there is, sorry, on the heap, this is heap, no? On the heap,
Yes.
there will be one more object 10. And this is referenced by whom? N belonging to F2, correct?
Yes.
So now I'm printing n is equal to n, which is nothing but 10, correct?
10. Yes.
Okay, so this is over.
Yeah.
F2 is over. Once it is
Yep.
over, what it has to do? It has to come back to F1, correct?
Okay.
So
Why will it come back, sir?
this work is over, no?
Okay.
Is there anything else to be done over here?
No, sir.
No, right? So it is work is over. So I'll have to come back. The control has to come back, right? No?
Okay.
See, I called you to do, I called Chinmayashri to do some work, correct?
Okay.
You went to do some work, you completed that work. And once you complete the work, you will sit there only. See, okay, I called you, I asked you to go and get masala dosa. Okay.
Okay.
So you went to the restaurant. Okay. So you got the masala dosa. He packed the masala dosa and gave it to you. Okay. You will sit there only or you will come back and give me.
I'll come back and meet you.
So why are you returning? Why are you coming back? Sit there only, no? Chinmayashri,
Understood.
you understood?
Yeah.
So F1 called F2 to do some job. It completed its operation. It has to come back to the place where it got called, no?
Again, F.
Huh?
Okay.
Come back.
Okay.
It is coming back over here. It came back. Okay. Once it comes back over here, we have another pending work, that is print n.
Printing.
So which n will it print? Now I am in which function? F1, no?
F1.
So I will have to print the n belonging to that. That is 20 will get printed once again, correct?
So, but above 10, sir. Above context we define F2, no, sir. Then 10 should we have to print.
We are printing this n from F1, no?
We bought 20. We printed 10 there only. So again we come here and print 20.
No.
only.
See, no. This n belongs to F2. See, I've given the diagram over here. In F2, when I said what is the value of n, it printed 10. When I come back, okay, this n, see, it is like two different classes having two different teachers with the same name, Subhash. Did you understand? Chinmayashri, did you understand or not?
Okay.
You have to respond.
Yes,
Okay, two different classes having two different teachers with the same name, Subhash. Hello.
Okay.
Right? No.
Yeah, sir.
So what happens? We have class A, class B. In class B, there is one teacher, Subhash. Class B, in class A, there is one teacher, Subhash, and class B, there is another teacher, Subhash. Okay. In class A, the teacher Subhash has 100 kilo weight. He weighs 100 kilo, and the Subhash of class B weighs 80 kilo. Okay, no?
Okay.
Now, if you come to class B and say, what is the weight of Subhash? What will you say?
80 kilos.
That is what. If you go to class A and say, what is the weight of Subhash? What will you say?
100 kilos.
So now you have come to class B over here, which is, so that is how it is. This n of F2 is different. This n is of different, right? So when I come to F1 and try to print the value of n, it will print 20.
Okay.
Did you understand or not?
Really understood.
Really understood.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine. Guys, shall we proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so did you understand why we got error over here? Do you understand why we got error? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, super. Now, having said that, coming to the program 11. Okay, so what happens over here? Now, can you tell me how many? Okay, Zalak. But sir, but 20 will be printed once in program 10. What is it, sir? But 20. Zalak, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Zalak, tell me.
Sir, first there is a statement print n equal to n. So for once it will print
Where? In which program? 10th program.
Sir, yes, sir. 10 program.
So,
sir, when we call F1, n is equal to 20 and then print n equal to comma n means n equal to 20. Once it will print, then it will give error. No?
Yeah, correct. Yes, interpreter will work like that only. Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to show you that this will give you an error.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that was my intention over here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, cool. Chalam is asking something. What is that? If one of the function gets error, means then rest of all the function gets error in program to answer. No, I think Chalam, you understood what we discussed now with Zalak. Okay, right. So shall we go to program 11? Okay, right. So what is happening in program 11? Akshada, tell me how many contexts are there over here?
There are 3 contexts.
There are 3 contexts. What are they?
Main and
This is called as the main context or the global context. Then we have the function 1 context and then we have function 2. Correct? No?
yes,
So in the global context, what we have? NS.
9 is stored in n,
Yeah, correct. Then we have what?
and then it will call function 1.
Okay, the control will go to this place, isn't it?
Yes,
So then what happens? Inside this we have n is equal to 20, correct?
20. Yes,
And I'm printing this value. So what will get printed?
20.
20 will get printed. Okay. And then I'm calling function 2, correct?
Function 2. Yes,
The control will go to this place, isn't it?
yes.
Now, what will get printed? N is equal to?
It should give
It should have
Error.
given error, but
error.
we have a global context. Did you see that? N is equal to 9.
Yes.
So when I say global context, it means that this n is available to all. Is that clear?
Yes,
This n is available to all is what I'm trying to tell you. This is not default right now. It's a global context. When I say global context, okay, it means that here whatever variables you define here, it is available to all the functions is what I'm trying to tell you. It is available to all, right? So even though you don't define it, okay, it means you are actually, okay, stack diagram, draw the stack diagram. Praveen is telling. Praveen, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Why do you need a stack diagram?
No, sir. Actually,
Because I know
Yes,
why
sir.
you asked for a stack diagram, because I used to mention the main context like this, isn't it?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I-
Where
I
from
understood.
where?
That is why before drawing this diagram, what did I tell you? I told you something, that the stack diagram is not the exact, it is only used for representing or to teach you, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So that is how it is. So you cannot, I cannot. So if I say main, the stack over here, it is not like that. It is basically a global context. It is available to all. All the variables defined over here is available to all. Whatever variables you actually define, okay, in the global context or in the main context, it is available to all, is what I'm trying to tell you. Guys, is that okay? Praveen, did you understand this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, no, right? It is not the way we actually do it in C or in so in Java or something like that. Python handles it totally different. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
have no worries. You can try this out. You'll get the same output. Don't worry about it. Okay, so whatever
Yes,
you
sir.
define in the global context, it is available to all the functions, right? So that is
Sure,
why
sir.
you don't get an error over here. In the previous program, did you have any variable in the global context?
No,
No.
sir.
Do you have any global context? No. That is why you got an error. That is why you got an error. But this program won't give you an error, because when you have not defined anything in your function definition, then this n will automatically refer to the global values, and therefore the output would be 9 over here. Is that okay? So the
Yes, sir.
output would be okay. Then I've done with my 9, and then what will happen? The control first, what will happen, my dear friends? Let me go. I'll just write it over here. First, I'll call function 1, and it says n is equal to 20, and then it prints 20. So 20 would be the output. And then I'll call function 2. It comes here. It says print n. Because n is not defined, it will access the global value, which is nothing but 9. 9 will get printed. And once this is done, the control will come back, okay, and come back to this place. In this case, it says n is equal to what? It is nothing but, again, we are trying to access n belonging to the function definition of f1, and in f1 it is n is equal to 20, therefore it will print 20 over here. Okay, and then once I'm done here, I'll come back to the global context, and it will print n. So what will get printed over here? 9 will
9.
get printed. Guys, is that clear? Did you understand the flow of the program?
Yes, sir.
Guys, did you understand the flow of the program? Okay, no? Clear? Hello, is that clear, my dear friends? Hello, everyone. Is the flow of the program clear to everyone? Yes, right? Okay, having said that, right? Super cool, super cool. Okay, now coming to the next program. Okay, so what is this program? What is this program? Can you tell me what is happening over here?
Factorial.
Factorial of a number. Okay, what is it called as? Factorial of a number. So this program is used for demonstrating, okay, recursion concept. What is it used for? This program is used for demonstrating recursion program or recursion, a concept called as recursion. Okay, so till here is it okay? Do you understand things till here? Because here I need special attention. That is why I want your special attention in this program. Okay, so let me just remove all this so that I can make space for my explanation. Okay, I'm just removing all this. Give me a moment. Okay, guys, till here is it okay? Yogesh, what is recursion? I'm going to explain. That's why I need your special attention. So are you all ready? I'm going to recursion concept now. Okay, are you all ready, my dear friends? Okay, just say ready in the chat box. If you're ready, say ready in the chat box. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so 1 minute. I'll just. It is time for me to remove few people who don't have their SPC ID. I'm just going through the people who are there. Do not put SPC IDs. Okay. Okay. So guys, are you ready? Shall we start? Now, first of all, what do you mean by recursion? Listen to me very carefully. Recursion is a concept in which one function calls itself again and again and again until it reaches a point where it can no more call the function once again. I'll repeat once again. Recursion is a concept where a function will be there. The function will call the same function once again. Right now, it calls itself again and again and again until it reaches a point where it will no more call itself again, rather it starts returning. Okay, no? Now, shall we do that? I will trace this program. Shall I trace this program, my dear friends? Are you ready? Just say ready in the chat box. If you're ready, just say ready in the chat box. Okay, cool. Now listen to me. So first of all, tell me what is the factorial for 5? What is 5 factorial? How do you calculate 5 factorial? You calculate 5 factorial by saying 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by, okay, 2 multiplied by 1, isn't it? 5 into 4 into 3 into 1, which will result in how much, my dear friends? Which will result in 120, isn't it? This will result in 120. So the 5 factorial is 120. Now what I've done is I have written a program, a recursion program, to find the factorial of 5. Is that clear? Till here, is that clear? I've written a factorial program. Okay, sorry, I have written a recursive program to find out the factorial of 5. I want to explain you recursion. That is why I have written this concept. Is that okay? So by the way, what do you mean by recursion? Recursion is a concept where a function will call itself once again. Is that clear? It will be calling itself again and again until it reaches a point where it will no more call the function again, rather it starts returning. Okay. Now listen to me carefully. Now in this, so Akshada, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Akshada, from where does the program start? How many
From the
contexts are
main
there?
context.
So how many contexts are there? One is the global context, the other one is the context belonging to the factorial function, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so shall we start from here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does it say? It says, tell me, what does it say?
Enter the number to find the factorial. It will take input from the user.
Yeah, so assume that I am giving 5, okay? I'm giving
Yes.
5. So that string 5 will get converted into an integer 5 and will get stored into n, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this line is over. Is that okay? This line is over. Next, come to the next line. In the next line, what am I doing?
It will call the factorial function.
I'm calling the factorial function. Am I passing any argument to it?
Yes, n.
So I am passing 10 na?
N.
N. Okay, now who is talking along with you?
I don't know. Malika.
This Mallika needs a ban, serious ban. Mallika needs a ban, I guess. Mallika, right? Okay. Okay. Anyways, next time Mallika speaks, ban only. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, Mallika, you speak with mute. Okay. Now, so the control will go to factorial, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what happens? Now this n will also get passed. So what will this n contain? Tell me.
It will contain the value from keyboard user.
Yeah, that is what is this? This n is 5 and I am passing this n, no, here I'm calling this function.
Yes.
So this n also will come and sit here, no? Yes or no?
Yes.
this n will come and sit here. So what is the value of this n?
5.
It is
Bilal.
5.
That is
Yes or no,
fine.
guys? Hello,
Yes.
it's 5, no? Guys, it's 5, no? Everyone okay with that? It's 5, right? Okay.
Yes.
Are you all okay? Okay, right. Now, so what happens? I'll start from here now, right? So you called the function factorial. So I'll just name it as f. Okay. I'll just name it as f. What is the parameter we pass now? 5, isn't it?
5.
5. So where are we? We are here, isn't it? Now, once I enter the function, so what am I writing over here? What is there? If n, that is 5, is it equal to 0?
No.
No. So what should I do? I'll have to go to the else part, correct?
Else.
I'm going to the
Yes.
else part, correct? So in the else part, what is there? Return, okay, that is 5 multiplied by, did you see that within this function, I am calling itself once again. Guys, did you observe that? See here,
Yes.
I am calling the same function once again within it. Okay, I am calling the same function. Guys, did you all observe? We are in factorial function. Within this function, we are calling the same function once again, my dear friends. Did you observe that? So that is with a different parameter. What is the different parameter now? N minus n, right? So what is that? It is 4. So what happens over here? Again, okay, we call, so the control will again go back to this. Again, it goes back to this, which I will write it over here. So now what is n value? What is n value? Tell me, Akshada.
4.
It is 4, correct? No, again, I will enter into this. If n is equal to 0, is 4 equal to 0?
No.
No, right? Then will I go to the if part or the else part?
Else part.
Else part. In else part, what is there? Return. Okay, what is n value now? In my case, it is
4.
4 multiplied by. Did you see I'm calling it once again?
Yes.
You observe, I'm calling it once again. I'm calling the same function once again over here. Okay,
Yes.
see what is that with the new value? What is that? It is 3.
3.
Isn't it? So again, I'm calling the same function with a new parameter of 3, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
So then what happens? Can you tell me? Okay. So tell
Then
me.
again we'll check if
I
3
will
is
enter
equal
into
to.
this. I'll see if 3 is equal to 0. Is 3 equal to 0?
No.
No, then I'll come to the else part. In the else part, what am I doing? Again, say return 3 multiplied by. Did you see? Again, I'm calling the same function once again. Did you see
Yes.
that? Again, I'm calling the same function once again. F of, but with a different value. It is 2. Okay, no. So now again, it will call the same function 2. Okay, and then with a new parameter 2, it gets called once again. Now again, it will check is 2 equal to 0?
No.
No, then it will come to the else part again. What does it say? Again, it says return 2 multiplied by f of, now a different value is 1, isn't it? Again,
Yes.
it calls the same function with a value of 1. Now again, it checks, is 1 equal to 0? No. Therefore, it
No.
comes to the else part. It says return 1. Okay, return 1 multiplied by, what does it say? Okay, f of
1 minus 1, 0.
0. Again, it calls the same function. Again, it calls the same function. Okay, now with a value of f of 0.
0.
So now n value is 0. Now we'll check. Is 0 equal to 0?
Yes.
Yes, true, no? Now it
Yes.
says return 1. Did you see that? Now it is saying return 1. So will it call the function once again?
No.
No, rather it starts returning, isn't it?
Return.
Return 1. Okay, no? Now, when I'm returning 1, to whom should this return to? Tell me. F of 0 is there. It is returning 1. Who called f of
F
0?
of 1.
Who
F
called
of
f of
1.
0? F of 1. So this return has to go back to f of 1. It was waiting, no? So this
Yes.
becomes 1. So then this f1 is telling 1 into 1 has to be returned, right? So this
Yes.
will return over here. So it becomes, what is 1 into 1? It is 1. 1 will get returned, right? No? Then 2 ones are 2.
2.
Now this 2 will get returned to this place. It comes and sits here as the output of f of 2. 3 2s are is 6. Okay, that will come and 6 as, as the output of f of 3. 4 6 are 24. Okay, so it comes and sits here, and then okay, it says 5 into 24. It returns, where does it come and sit? It comes and sits in this value f. This was the first one who called, no? So it comes and sits in f, which is nothing but 120, isn't it? And then
Yes.
I print the value. Factorial of n is 120. Did you see this? Okay.
Yes.
It means 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay. So this is a program to show you how a function will call itself again and again and again. It keeps calling until it reaches a condition where it will no more call the function, rather it will start returning. And this condition which stops this function calling recursively is called as what condition? This is called as the base condition. They'll ask you in interviews also. Okay, no, it is called as your base condition, my dear friends. Okay, so base condition is the condition which once met, no, it will no more call the function once again, rather it starts, returning like this. Is that clear? Hello? Okay. Once I want, after the class, I want you to practice this. I want you to visualize in your mind, like, how I've given you in the diagram. I want you to, can you please take a picture of this so that you can actually go through this after the class, my dear friends? Okay, can you please go through this like this? Okay, it would be very, very helpful for you. Okay, guys, do you understand? Hello, did you understand, guys?
Yes.
Okay, but you will not understand until you practice yourself. I want you to practice yourself like this one, again and again. Okay, so a function that calls itself again and again until it reaches a base condition, where once that base condition is met, it will no more call that function once again, rather it just starts returning, my dear friends. So this concept is called as recursion, and a very important concept. So you can solve server. So I want to give you one more assignment today. Okay, please note it down. The same program, I want you to write it using loops. Okay, no, the same program, this is using which, I mean, this factorial of function I have written using functions, isn't it? So did you see something is happening again and again and again, my dear friends? Hello, did you see something is happening again and again and again? Okay, so it means that this can be also achieved using loops, isn't it? Any problem that you can solve using recursion can be solved using loops, and any problem that you do using loops can also be solved using recursion. Okay, so as an assignment, try to think to solve this recursive problem using loops and post it in the group by tomorrow. Is that clear? Is that clear? Hello, is that clear? Right, guys? Okay, so please practice this and you'll definitely get. Until you practice, you will not understand. Trust me, I will write and give it to you. Until you do it by yourself, you will not understand. Please take this picture and I want you to trace it like this. Okay, so having said that, okay, so we will finish off this final program today. Is that okay? It will take hardly 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, we'll finish off this and continue tomorrow. Is that clear? Okay, right. Having said that, now listen to me. Did you see something called as def function star args? Did you see that? This is called as, okay, hello, this is called as, okay, varargs. What is it? It is called as varargs. Akshada, what is it called as?
Sir, varargs.
Varargs. RARGS. Varargs. Okay. Varargs stands for variable number of arguments. Guys, can you put that in the chat box? This is called as variable number of arguments. Guys, put that in the chat box. Anyone put that in the chat box? It is called as variable number of arguments. It means this parameter can take any number of arguments. Okay, this parameter. So how many function calls are there? Can you see? Can you tell me how many function calls are there? Can anyone tell me how many function calls are there? 4 function calls. In the first function call, how many parameter am I passing?
1.
In the
Only
second
1.
function call, how many parameters am I passing?
2.
In the third function call, how many parameters am I passing?
3.
In the fourth function call, how many parameters am I passing?
4.
4. It means how many function definitions are there?
Function definition is only 1.
Only 1, correct? No, so it means for all these number of parameters, this function definition is able to take up all kinds of parameters, isn't it, my dear friends? Yes or no? Right? So that is why this is called. So how is this function definition able to take all the kind of parameters? Because this function is taking a variable number of arguments, and if you want to take variable number of arguments, then you have to say def function star args. Okay, and if you see the type of args, this would be a tuple. Okay, it would be a tuple. The variable number of arguments will be taken in the form of tuple. Okay, I want you to see the type after the class. Is that okay? Now, first time what will happen, Akshada? Tell me, how does it work? For the first time, what will this tuple args contain?
Only 1.
Only 1. So how does this for loop be there? For loop will look like this: for I in
1.
1 comma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tuple will be 1 comma always, right?
Yes.
And then what happens? So this 1 will be taken by I, and then it will get printed, isn't it? So that will get printed. Correct, Noma?
Yes.
Yes or no? Right. Next. So is there any other element in this tuple left out?
No.
So this for loop will get terminated and the function definition will come out, isn't it? Then
Yes.
the next function call. In the next function call, what happens? How many parameters are you passing? 1 comma 2.
2 parameters. 1,
So when you pass 2 parameters, this tuple will contain what? What will this tuple contain?
2 arguments.
That is 1 comma 2, isn't it? This
Yes.
args will contain, because args is here, no, this will be replaced with 1 comma 2. So it will print, first 1 will be taken, then 2 will be taken, and that will get printed using print over here. Correct, no?
Yes.
In the third function call, how many parameters are you passing?
3.
3. So this tuple will contain how many parameters?
3. 1
3
comma 2
parameters.
comma.
So it would be 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay. Similarly, the next one will contain 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Guys, this is called as variable number of arguments. They'll ask you in interview how to define variable number of arguments. Is that clear, my dear friends? Hello? Is that clear? Okay. Is that clear? Hello? Okay. So tomorrow we will be discussing lambda functions, and it is easy. I'll try to make it as easy as possible, and we will do a lot of other programs. Is that okay? I'll also do all these programs. Is that clear, my dear friends? Okay. So hope, did you understand till here what I've discussed? Do you understand what I've discussed till here? Okay. Recursion definition, say once again, sir. Okay. Very simple. Recursion is a concept where a function will call itself again and again and again until it reaches a condition called as a base condition, where it will no more call the function, okay, itself. Rather, it starts returning again and again. It is not some standard definition. Okay. It is a definition that I am saying with the way the flow is there of the program. Okay, no, so I don't memorize definitions and all that, but this is how it works, right? Did you understand that? Okay, right. So okay, right. So 1 second. Okay, Praveen, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Praveen, tell me.
Sir, just go above, sir, that factorial. Yes, sir. Here, sir. Up to last written part, and I mean up to all function calls, where this written 5 into f of 4 and written 4 into f of 3 will stay, or where they will wait?
Stack.
They're
all stacks.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, so
Okay.
first is 1, and then on top of it another stack, on top of it another stack, on top of another. So once you return, this is gone, then it returns, this is gone,
Yes.
then returns, this is gone, it's gone, like that. Then the entire
Yes.
program would be removed from memory.
Yes, sir. I got.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Sir, after writing main content, can we write user defined function? Chaitra, please wait till tomorrow. I have one of the guess the output, so I'll be telling you. Okay, Chaitra, right? So sir, what is star before args? Avantika, that is a syntax for telling the Python interpreter that we are going to expect a variable number of arguments. Okay, Avantika, right? Right. So can you please tell me the output of function 1 comma 2 in the last question? First one is 1. For 1 2 it is 1 comma 2. I mean it is 1 and 2. Okay, Prasad, right? Guys, try out all these programs, you'll get to know. Okay, so do you have some serious doubts, my dear friends? Anyone has some serious doubts? Okay,
Sir, one thing, one more. Sir,
Who is
apart
this?
from Praveen,
yeah, Praveen. Huh.
sir, apart from using functions, we'll have separated blocks of code. Is there any particular reason to use functions?
Avoid duplicate code. You can avoid duplicate code, right? Tell me. You can avoid duplicate code, no?
Also,
Means
duplicate
what?
code in a sense.
You have this print function. Okay, how many times this function is written? How many times this function definition is written?
One. Acha. Okay. Yes, sir.
Every time, are you writing a different function definition, or are you calling the same function definition?
Same function again and again.
How many times will you use print in your actual program?
Mm,
Whenever you're writing a Python code, how many times will you use print function?
many times.
Many times. Assume that if instead of writing print function, you would have been replacing it with your function definition of print.
Oh, that's impossible.
So print is basically a single library function which is there
Yes,
somewhere,
sir.
and you call it, you invoke it every time, correct?
Yes, sir.
That is the main use of it. Second one is you modularize it, and third one is you give a particular task to a particular function, okay, rather
Yes.
than writing it everything at once.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So Kavirappa, yes, buddy, tell me.
Yes, sir. Sir, for loop needs an iterable, right?
Yes, correct.
So then in arcs, when we say, sir, in the star arcs, we get one will get stored, right?
Correct.
So then it's an integer, right? How will the for loop work?
It is an integer inside a tuple. An integer inside a tuple is what? I told, what is arcs, by the way?
So that only what is that
I told you, no, what is arcs? It is given on the screen. What is arcs?
tuple?
Tuple. So what is tuple?
So, but how is arcs a tuple?
It is considered as a tuple. It is when you give the star arcs, the Python will understand that, okay, the programmer is trying to give n number of arguments. So it might be a sequence. So let me keep it in a sequence, and it creates it arcs as a tuple. How is it a tuple in the sense what? Python will treat this as a tuple whenever you're passing n number of arguments.
So that
Okay,
does
so
that mean that star arcs is a built-in function or something like that?
it is not a function, okay, it is a built-in mechanism which the Python compiler will understand that, okay, so it is my duty now to make it as a tuple.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Got it? So it
Yes,
is a
sir.
tuple. So when you pass 1, it would be a tuple with 1, a tuple of 1 integer.
So does it mean that while writing for I in star is not required?
No, not required. This is just to indicate the Python compiler that, take n number of arguments, be ready to. If suppose I don't write this, okay, it means
Yes.
that it is like a normal, I will take only one parameter, that's all. Then if this will work, but all these will not work.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay, no, this is, so when I write star, it means boss, be ready to take any number of parameters. That's an indication.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So guys, any other doubts?
Sir?
Hello. Yes.
Sir, which one is better, sir, loop or recursion?
Huh?
Which one is better, sir? I mean, which one we are
Who is
preferable?
talking? Who is this? Who is this? Narendra. Narendra?
Hello?
Narendra. You're Narendra, right? Narendra, tell me.
Which one is better, sir, loop or recursion? Sir?
Can't say, depends on the applications. Okay, no? But recursion will take more of your stack memory. Okay, but sometimes it is more better than loops. But again, there is no particular answer whether recursion is better or loops are better. Okay, it depends on the applications. So you will have to first run your applications in real time and see which is taking more of time, and based on that you will have to decide. There is no one answer which says which is better. It all depends on your real time application that you're using. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah. Praveen Kumar, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Praveen, tell me, what is it?
Main context and that one. So how Python interpreter will differentiate global context?
How are you able to differentiate the context? First of all, how you know different contexts, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you know? How can you differentiate?
If you have a function calls, then that is a global context. And if
No, function calls can also be inside one more function definition.
Okay. If there is a definition,
this becomes one context, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Something like that you would be using.
Is that the only thing, sir, or else interpreter will look for some particular kind of thing to differentiate?
I don't know how this I have never seen interpreter code. Okay, but might be something like this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So guys, any other doubts? Sir, you asked to see what is bubble sort technique. Did you see? Ketki, did you see? Did you see? Very good. Okay, so you'll have to explain it, I think, when I discuss those programs. Okay. Okay, so Ketki, I'll ask you to talk to me and you'll have to explain me what is bubble sort technique. Okay. Right. So guys, meet you tomorrow. Okay, with the continuation of functions. Fine. So until then, take care. Bye bye. Have a wonderful night. Hope you enjoyed the session. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye bye. See you.